Thank you, Solicitor General. Justice Mendoza.
I defer to Justice Abad.
Justice Abad.
In the course of my questioning, I refer to certain provisions of the law and some documents of the respondents. So to minimize time, I have prepared projections so they'll not have to look for it, and I'll find it. So with that permission.
Counsel, you are directed to please refer to the what is going to be projected.
Yes, Your Honors.
I want to clear up some basic things before going into the issues. The subject matter of the RH law is family planning, correct?
No, Your Honor.
Family planning is...
No, Your Honor.
is
It's
central.
reproductive law and universal access of reproductive materials to women, the poor, and the disadvantaged.
All right, okay. But one of its components is family planning.
Not family planning, Your Honor. That is not mentioned in the RH law.
Okay, reproductive health.
Reproductive
Is the
health
center
as
of it.
one of the many objectives of this law, Your Honor.
All right, so with this in mind, your position is that the legislature is right in enacting the RH law.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct? For the public good.
Yes, Your Honor. As an exercise of police power and as a social legislation.
Concerning your topic, the right to life, and implicitly the right to health, correct me if I'm wrong, but I perceive three tests of constitutionality of the RH law here. That's the first one. Does it violate the right to life of the mother and the unborn child? You agree with that?
It does. It
That's
does
one
not,
of the
Your Honor.
issues.
It does not, Your Honor.
Does it violate the people's right to health?
It certainly not, Your Honor.
Well,
It
that's
does
a
not
part
violate.
of the... Yeah. And third, does it violate the individual's right to substantive due process? Because you're citing police power, which demands that laws be reasonable, not arbitrary.
There is no violation, Your Honor.
Yes, that's what I'm just saying. These are the issues. Okay. Do you agree that these are some of the tests that you must hurdle, respecting the rights to life and the right to health, that the subject matter of your talk?
Well, it's not an exclusive test, Your Honor.
Now, consequently, if the court finds that the RH law does not violate these constitutional rights, then its validity should be upheld, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the other hand, if the court finds that the RH law violates one of these constitutional rights, then its offending provisions should be stricken down, correct?
That could be a result, Your Honor.
You said in your comment that negative rights, like those in the Bill of Rights, are generally self-executing. You said that, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For example, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. That is a negative right.
Yes, Your Honor, as contained in
it
the
is
Bill of Rights.
Self-executing.
As a Bill of Rights right, Your Honor, yes.
In such a case, the power of the court, according to you, is to interpret such negative right is strongest, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you said. You also say that positive norms, on the other hand, are not self-executory.
No, I believe, Your Honor, what we said is many of the provisions in Article 2, as distinguished by the Bill of Rights, the Article 2 enumeration of rights.
So, for example, the Constitution states that it is the duty of the state to equally protect the right to life of the mother and the unborn child from inception. That is a positive norm.
That is an Article 2 right, Your Honor.
But does not such provision also imply that the state cannot deprive the unborn child of the right to life?
It implies more that the
That's what you
state...
were saying a while ago. That,
No, Your Honor. The Article 2 rights say that the state has a duty to protect, and the duty to protect means to act by legislation. That
Yes.
is why we say it is not self-executory.
Yes, but in fact, you yourself said in your comment, page 28, that the Constitution prohibits abortion, which will deprive the unborn child of his right to life. You agree?
That is our conclusion, Your
So,
Honor.
this means that in this case, that a positive norm, the right to life of the unborn child, can imply a negative right. Mainly, abortion is prohibited. Correct?
In the sense that it can imply, Your
Okay.
Honor.
The same is true of the constitutional provision that the state shall promote and protect the right of the people to health. It is a positive norm, but it implies a negative right, namely that the state cannot deprive the people of their right to health. Correct?
I would be careful about implying
you
so
don't
many.
dispute that. That's it's
I dispute it as a general proposition, Your Honor, as a stepping stone to some incursions into constitutional right. All it means is that if the people have a right to health under Article 2, then the government has a positive obligation by statute to implement. But considering that there are so many social
Yes,
demands,
yes.
right
Part
to
of that
health,
is,
right to the environment, so I will be very, very careful and hesitant to imply negative rights
No,
to
for example,
such...
can the government perform acts that knowingly will imperil the health of the people?
They cannot, Your Honor, if what they are doing is against a right under the Bill of Rights, right to life, liberty, or property. So if what the government does imperils the liberty or the life of a person, then the government cannot do that. But that's an Article 3 Bill of Rights right.
Yes, I understand that. But I'm referring now to Article 2, no? Where you said there's no provision there that the Constitution prohibits abortion, yet it implies that from the right to life. That's what I mean. No? There's no provision there to, but there's a provision there that right to health. That's a right that is stated there as a right. And that government probably cannot take from the people the right to health. Do you agree with me?
We imply the...
No, do you agree with me that
No,
the
Your
government
Honor, I do not. With all due respect.
Cannot act to impair the right of the people to health? Government can do that?
The government cannot do that because of the Bill of Rights.
Well, that's all the point. Now,
Because of the Bill of Rights, Your Honor, not because of Article 2.
yeah, well, it's okay. That's good that it gets an assistance from the Bill of Rights.
Not only an assistance, Your Honor. That's the only assistance that you can have.
All right.
Because Article 2 is so many...
But the Bill of Rights does not mention the right to health.
No, precisely, Your Honor, it does not. But then government cannot impair
Only
health.
the right to life.
No, government cannot impair health, not because of Article 2,
Okay, well, I've made
but
my
because
point
of
that
Article
the government, I've made my point anyway. Now, so let me first take up the right to life of the unborn child. My understanding is there are three ways of preventing the birth of a child. One, by preventing the woman's ovary from ovulating or producing ova or eggs. I think you mentioned that. Second, no ovum, no baby. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, but this is
Now,
not.
so
This is
number
not
two-
these are not the only modes, Your Honor.
Yes, number two, by preventing the sperm from fertilizing the ovum.
That's
No.
one. But what we're saying, Your Honor, there are not
No, just
only
answer
three.
the point, whether that's a correct statement or not.
A correct statement, one of many, Your Honor.
All right, now. So, no sperm fertilization of the ovum, no baby. Okay. The third, by abortion after the ovum has been fertilized. Kill the fertilized ovum, you kill the baby. Correct?
I disagree, Your Honor.
Well, that's what it...
Because there is no child yet. And then besides, Your Honor, the enumeration is
No, I'm just stating some declassification. I'm not saying that your rule, I'm not going there yet. I'll go to that later. But this merely says that these are the means for preventing birth. Is that correct?
I disagree with number 3, Your Honor.
Which
because
one?
The number 3.
Well,
Because
that's prohibited by law, but that is a means for preventing birth.
I disagree, Your Honor, because I do not agree with the opening statement. 3 ways of preventing the birth of a child. A child is born, Your Honor. A child is after the delivery, there is a child. That's why infanticide is the killing of a child. Now,
We said that the right to life of the unborn child begins at conception.
that is
So if you say that you call him a child if he's only out of the woman, you're not, what do you call that? You're talking about another thing. That's not what the Constitution checks. The right of the unborn child from conception.
no, Your
if the
Honor.
child is aborted, while he is in the mother's womb, then that is the third part.
With all due respect, Your Honor, the Constitution does not say the right of the unborn child. It says the right of the unborn from conception. That's why we disagree with the premise, preventing the birth of a child.
Well, what
The
is the
Constitution-
unborn? What is the unborn here?
That
But
is
when he is born, what is he called?
A child.
So when you don't call him unborn child,
You're
he
right,
is
Your
still
Honor.
in the womb.
You're right, Your Honor. There is no such thing as
Well,
an
I'm not
unborn
disputing
child.
that, but
All I'm saying, Your Honor, the Constitution says protect the right of the unborn from conception. It doesn't say child.
no, that's what it says.
No, Your Honor, I disagree.
But,
That's not what the Constitution says.
So what do you call this? The one that is unborn?
It's unborn,
The
Your
right
Honor.
of the unborn what?
The Constitution says the
Unborn.
right of the unborn.
Animal?
I don't know. The Constitution says the right of the unborn.
All right, I'll go to another point. And I'll not dispute that because that's not really important. So, abortion is out, correct? Under this law.
Yes, Your Honor. Definitely
But-
out under this law.
Yes, well, but preventing ovulation and avoiding the fertilization of the ovum, they are in under this law. Preventing ovulation and avoiding the fertilization of the ovum, they are legal.
Yes, Your Honor.
And these two permissible modes are made possible through the use of contraceptives, according to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, contraceptives can be in the form, I think there are some that I'll describe, in the form of birth control pills that women take at prescribed time and dosages. All right? These pills are hormonal contraceptives, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Their primary function, according to the World Health Organization, or WHO, is twofold. It prevents the ovary from producing ova or eggs, correct? That's the first one.
Yes, yes.
And
Your
the second is that it generates thick mucus that will prevent the sperm from reaching and fertilizing the ovum. If there is one, is that right?
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Now, and then the next one are injectables with effects that last for about 3 months, right?
I believe injectables are hormonal contraceptives that instead of being taken orally are injected, Your Honor. But I think they have the
Injectables
same.
are taken through the mouth
No.
or orally?
Hormonal contraceptives or pills are orally ingested. Injectables, I believe, are
Injected.
hormonal contraceptives. They have the same effect in number one, but
Yeah, I'll show that later. But that's one of the things that mentioned is injectables, okay. And then patches that last for 7 days.
I believe again that patches are stick-ons to the skin, but they have the same mechanism of action in your number one, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's good because now, and these injectable, and then you have the implants. The implants on women's upper arms that continuously release drugs from 3 to 5 years. You're aware of that?
I think implants, but I'm not sure if
Now,
they're in upper
this-
arms or 3 to 5
Now,
years.
these injectables, patches and implants, are actually also hormonal contraceptives. Is that correct?
Yes, I agree, Your Honor.
When you say hormonal contraceptives, that means they are synthetic hormones. They are not human hormones.
Yes, Your Honor.
There are also intrauterine devices or IUDs about the size and shape of a small pendant cross. It's very small, about 1 inch in size. Planted in the uterine wall. They prevent conception, for 5 to 10 years. Is that correct?
Well, the concept of the IUD,
Now,
Your
it
Honor.
depends. Now, one kind is made of copper, tanso, that releases toxic particles into the womb and kills sperm cells, right?
Well, I believe
Well, I got that from WHO report.
I believe it's copper, but I don't know, Your Honor, whether toxic is.
Well, there's
but
well,
it
it's-
kills sperms. The effect, I think, is to kill the sperm. Yes.
Well, it kills the sperm cells.
Yes,
You don't
yes, Your
call
Honor.
that toxic?
I do not know whether the proper term is toxic, Your Honor, but
Well,
it kills. Yes.
from my point of view, a chemical that kills cells will be toxic. Now, one kind is made of, another kind is of IUD, releases synthetic hormones into the womb, inducing thick mucus that makes it difficult for the sperm to reach the ovum. Is that right? You also heard of that?
I'm not sure about what another kind means, Your Honor.
This is hormone-based also.
Well, I believe all, they call COCs, combined oral contraceptives. The hormonal contraceptives have
Okay.
as a mechanism the thickening of the cervical mucus to prevent the sperm from reaching the egg.
Yeah, well, actually, the whole problem here, as far as I can see, is that the law says that abortifacients, which cause abortion, is prohibited. Huh? It's out. You cannot, the law does not authorize abortifacients, correct?
There is no problem, Your Honor.
Yes. But the problem is that, no, there's a problem because
There is
the
no
the
problem,
law,
Your Honor.
No, I'll show you the problem. But the law declares in Section 9 there that hormonal contraceptives and IUDs are safe, legal, non-abortifacient, and effective. That's what the law says, correct?
There is no problem, Your Honor, because
No, I'm asking you if that is what the law says.
I disagree with the conclusion, Your Honor. That is
No,
what
no, not the
that is
conclusion.
what Section 9 says, but there is no there
Let's
is
go
no.
one by one. No, I'm sorry.
Can
I'm
I
only
speak,
asking
Your
you
Honor?
I'm only asking you if that is what the law says.
Yes, but you had the previous question where
No, I'll go to that later. I'll not surprise you.
can I be allowed to go to it now, Your Honor?
Not
I would-
yet, not yet, because I'm just asking you whether that is what the law says.
But Your
I'll
Honor,
go into the issues. Don't worry, I'll go into the issues.
Your Honor, I am not conceding that there is a problem because 4E defines what an abortifacient is.
No,
There
the
is
problem
no
is
problem.
Not, the problem is not with you. The problem is that the petitioners challenge this. That's the problem.
I do not know why they are challenging
No,
it
that's
because
what-
4A
No, that's
protects
what,
everybody, Your Honor.
Well, that's
Section 9 says you can only buy contraceptives that meet the 4A criterion. And so it is safe, Your Honor. There is no problem. That's why we also ask, why are the petitioners even here?
And also, the law says, Section 9, that these contraceptives should be included in the National Drug Formulary, also known as the Essential Drugs List, correct?
Only and only if they meet the definition of 4E.
Yes, we
That
did.
they don't have the so-called third mechanism of action, Your Honor. So it's very clear there is no problem, and that has to be taken up yet by the FDA. So you cannot have the Department of Health putting it into the formulary or the essential drugs list unless and until and after the FDA says that particular contraceptive meets the requirements of 4A. So there is, with all respect, Your Honor, there is no problem.
Well, that's not what the law says. And the law mandates the National Drug Formulary to include this class of contraceptives. It says not to include hormonal contraceptives, intrauterine devices, injectables, as safe, legal, non-abortifacient, and effective supplies.
Yes, Your Honor, but please don't forget, this is already Section 9. 4A, which is, number 4 is definitions. The definitions in 4A already says what is the meaning of non-abortive patient. 4A says, provided it is not like this, like that. So by the time you go to Section 9, it means non-abortive patient means meets the definition of the Congress in 4A. So again, with all due respect, there is no problem, Your Honor.
Okay.
The problem is the FDA is not being given the chance to make its tests as to whether or not a particular brand, a particular contraceptive, as we say, there are 59, Your Honor. It is, as Father Berna says, quite irresponsible to say all 59 are valid. For that matter, whether or not all 59 meet the 4A test is still for the FDA to determine. So that there is no problem, Your Honor. That's what we're trying to say. There cannot be a 9 unless the FDA first applies 4A. The government concedes that you cannot put anything into the national drug formulary. You cannot put anything into
4A
the...
is definition of terms.
Yes, Your Honor.
So it merely defines terms. It's not really...
I beg to disagree. It is not merely... It
definition,
defines. That is the crux of the law, Your Honor. It defines. And as I keep saying,
yes,
that came from the opponents of the RH law, not from the sponsors. Not from the sponsors.
Well, I'll go into that, but actually, so, now, if we uphold this law, the government will be free to promote all these contraceptives that it declares to be safe and non-abortive patient, correct?
No, Your Honor. No. The Section 9 says that not assuming all 59 meet the 4A test, you have to go to the national formulary system, which is the most efficacious in terms of cost, and they will come up with the list so that the poor and the privileged and the disadvantaged will only get the best available.
But the law as written, it already says that Section 9. The national drug formulary shall include. So, shall is a command, is it not?
Yes, Your Honor, but then you have...
Well, all right, shall is a command. Shall include hormonal contraceptives. This is a class of drugs,
But you have...
intrauterine devices, injectables, and other safe, legal, non-abortive patient and effective family planning products and supplies. Actually, I read your comment, and your comment said that this is a finding of fact of the legislature, that these are safe, and that it is binding upon Supreme Court. This statement, this finding, that this class of drugs are safe and non-abortive patient is binding upon this court. You said that, did you not?
No, Your Honor, with all due respect, we're saying we beseech this honorable court to consider that finding of a co-equal branch of government as being worthy of some respect. Of course, it is for this honorable court at the end of the day
I don't know.
to pass judgment on whether the Congress acted in grave abuse of discretion. And all we're saying is the Congress is not necessary. The test is not whether the Congress is correct. The test is, did the Congress make this judgment in good faith based on some evidence as to be not in abuse of discretion? We're not saying the Congress or the executive is perfect, Your Honor. All we're saying is, and the WHO has been quoted, 24 Filipino experts, that is their considered view. The Congress heard this in testimony. 14 years, they arrive at a decision. They are a co-equal branch of government.
Let me read from your own pleading. The RH law promotes access to contraceptives and not abortive patients. That a contraceptive is not an abortive patient is a legislative determination that is entitled to judicial deference. That's what you said.
Deference, Your Honor. I never said it's binding.
That's what it is. We must defer to it. So,
Deference, Your
therefore,
Honor, with all due respect, we're not imposing on this court.
you say, no, that contraceptive is not an abortive patient, is a legislative determination.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, how can you say that this law as written, that it have to depend upon the FDA when the law itself says that, as you self acknowledges, says that a contraceptive is not a contraceptive. That's a class of medicine, not Daphne or trash pill, which you get to the drugstore. But contraceptive in general, as a class, is not an abortive patient. It's a legislative determination that the court should respect. So what are you saying? That this is not what you mean? That's what you said in your comment, and that's what the language of the law says.
That is what we said, Your Honor, and our answer would be this is classical administrative law. The Congress makes a policy determination, finding of fact, that contraceptives as of 2012 as a class are not abortifacient. They now delegate to the Food and Drug Administration,
Anyway, so this law,
as an expert, Your Honor, to go down to the level of particular brands and make a finding of fact. Again, we said, can the Congress reserve to itself?
well, I have a problem if your own interpretation conflicts with the language of the law, because we are bound by the language of the law, not by your interpretation of it. That's what you say.
It's not our interpretation. It is an interpretation based on the received teachings of this honorable court in administrative law. The Congress can pass, as a matter of policy, general policy statements. That is why we have administrative law. You give to the experts. You give to the experts in the
I got to another
FDA.
point. You said in your comment that the legislative determination, the legislature conducted hearing, you said receive evidence, and after a while it made a finding, determination, that those contraceptives are not abortive patients. And you say in your comment that this finding is supported by scientific evidence of the highest standards, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you base this claim on the fact that such determination was based on the opinion of the World Health Organization, or WHO. It is all over your comment, correct?
Among others, Your Honor. There are also 24.
But mainly, you were citing the WHO. And a group, the other thing that you said, and a group of Philippine medical experts called the Universal Healthcare Study Group, or UHC, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, in fact, you attached the papers that the medical experts in these two organizations gave to Congress. You attached them to your comment.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was largely based on this evidence, according to you, that Congress made that declaration in the law that these contraceptives are non-abortive patients, correct?
We are saying, Your Honor, that the Congress, this evidence was before the Congress. Now, the Congress, the legislators, the senators may have their own readings, they have their own stuff. What we're trying to emphasize is
I'm just reading what you said.
this is evidence of record, Your Honor.
Okay.
Evidence of the legislative record.
Now, you cited in your comment the WHO finding that hormonal oral contraceptives like the pill prevent ovulation, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that IUDs prevent fertilization, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But both methods cannot be labeled as abortive patients, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
That is the conclusion made by the reproductive health experts of the WHO, correct?
And 24 Filipino
And the
scientists.
other one, UHC.
Yes, the 24 Filipino scientists.
Did you bother to find out if WHO, from whom Congress solicited this medical opinion, is impartial on the issue of contraceptives?
That is a question that was automatically
I ask
addressed.
if you bothered to, you're not answering the question. Did you bother to find out if WHO, from whom Congress solicited this medical opinion is impartial
I
on the
cannot-
issue of contraceptives?
I cannot find out, Your Honor. I would assume that the Congress, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, being elected by the people, have the good sense and the responsibility to make sure that they make good faith judgments on the evidence presented
just wanted
before
to know if
them.
we should rely always on WHO. The fact is that the WHO advocates the use of contraceptives to control birth, correct?
I do not agree, Your Honor. And again,
No, so let me read. If you don't agree, I'm going to read to you. From the WHO Medical Media Center on Family Planning fact sheet there, dated May 2010, 2013. WHO is working to promote planning by producing evidence-based guidelines on safety and service delivery of contraceptive methods. Okay? Developing quality standards and providing pre-qualification of contraceptive commodities and helping countries introduce, adopt, and implement these tools, contraceptives, to meet their needs. Now, that's an official statement of WHO. Does that not show to you that the WHO, a UN organization heavily funded by the US aid, wants to export to us their contraception culture?
first, Your Honor, with all due respect, I do not know the source. And number two, Your Honor, with all due respect, I do not believe the World Health Organization is supported by the
I got this from
US aid.
I
Now,
have the documents. I'll show you the
and
documents.
I would be willing to look at the documents, Your Honor. What the government's understanding is, if a country embarks on reproductive health, the WHO is ready to assist.
It's all right,
If they do not want reproductive
That's not my
health,
point.
the WHO does not assist.
Counsel,
So,
that's not my point. My point is impartiality. You ask for an opinion of an expert, you must be sure that the expert is impartial on that issue. No, so
But
that's
that-
another point. I'm going to...
But Your
that's not-
Honor is addressed to
I'm
the
going to read
24
another part,
senators
huh?
and the more than 200 congressmen. Did
Well-
they want to believe or not? All we're saying is this court cannot supplant the judgment
Well,
of 24 senators and the congressmen. Whether they believe it or not, we is best left to the judgment.
Yeah, I'll
At
read-
the end of the day, they passed the law, Your Honor. And that is the only scientific evidence of record. We challenge the petitioners to submit
Oh,
their scientific evidence of record presented to the Congress.
Only
Not-
WHO is the scientific evidence.
I am not saying that, Your Honor. I am saying the petitioners did not submit to the legislative record scientific evidence, not from our reading of the legislative record. This
but
is all about grave abuse
We
of
got this in
discretion.
the website of the WHO. It's accessible by everybody, the legislature. There's another point. It reads also, no? From the same WHO paper. WHO is also developing new contraceptive methods, including male methods, to reduce the unmet need for contraception. So actually, this WHO is in the production of contraceptives. The one you ask, whether this contraceptives acts as abortifacient, is one that promotes its use. So, and it knows that if we say it's an abortifacient, then its product will not be able to enter our country.
I vehemently disagree, Your Honor. And this is the same WHO that only weeks ago the petitioners were quoting on cancer research. We're quoting that contraceptives are supposed to be cancer producing. So we have to make up our minds. And
Well,
I think the point, Your Honor,
so-
is in the face of conflicting evidence, the Congress acted. And they acted, you have to grant them in good faith. And one could disagree. That's why we are saying
They're looking for
the
evidence.
judgment is not whether they are correct or not whether they believe it or not.
Well, according
The
to you, Congress
majority-
believed that. And also, according to you, Congress believed the WHO.
Because of our conclusion, Your Honor, that they passed the law. And, again, I
Well,
go back, because that's the only
So,
scientific evidence
the
of
medical
record.
experts who prepared these opinions that you attached to your comment, which was relied on by Congress, work for World Health Organization. No? It says there, they're officials of the World Health Organization. Now,
No, Your Honor, I respectfully and
you did not
vehemently
read your,
disagree.
your annexes to find out who prepared this?
No, I also would like to read my annexes, Your Honor.
No, they are prepared by
Let's
WHO.
look at the annexes now,
Okay.
Your Honor.
By employees or
I vehemently
experts of
object, Your Honor. It is not
WHO.
true.
No, it tries under the letterhead of WHO.
No, Your Honor, not the...
Well, anyway,
I can look at the comment now, Your Honor.
if you want
Can
to
we
get...
look at the comment now, Your Honor?
No, I'm going to ask you a question. If you want to get an impartial opinion on which television station in the Philippines is the best, would you ask Chris Aquino, who works for ABS-CBN?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
If you want to get an impartial opinion on which television station in the Philippines is the best, would you go to Chris Aquino and ask her?
I would
But
go.
we-
I would.
You will.
Go to the professionals, Your Honor. Nielsen. There are professional groups that measure.
Yes, that's the proper thing to do.
Of course, Your Honor, it's
not
the proper
those
thing.
who work for those, you don't consult the experts who work for those whose advocacy is birth control.
That is why, Your Honor, with all due respect, and we
I'm
look
glad-
at now
I'm glad
the testimony.
I'm glad
of
you
the-
appreciate that point now. There are many outstanding international research groups in the world that do not get funding from pro-abortion world powers. Don't you think that it would have been more prudent for the legislature to ask them their opinions?
The legislator gave their opinions when they voted, Your Honor. But again, just on the 24 Filipino scientists, Your Honor, their letterhead says Universal Healthcare, UHC Study Group, Room 125, National Institute of Health, University of the Philippines, Manila, 623 Pedro Hill Street, Ermita, 1000, Manila, Philippines. There is not a WHO affiliate, unit, or employer, Your Honor.
You're referring now to the UHC study groups, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, because
Now,
these
but
Filipinos
they
for
gave this
24
opinion-
are not employees
No,
of the
did you read that opinion?
Yes, Your Honor.
That opinion was based on their belief. You read that you can consider abortion only with respect to viable fetus.
I am
Not a
dis-
mere fertilized ovum. That's what they say. I want
I
you
am
to
not
read.
disputing that. I am disputing your statement that they are WHO funded employees. They are
No,
not,
okay.
Your Honor.
I'm just telling you that-
It is a dishonor. One of them, in fact, is here.
Those to whom you are referring to now, the Filipino experts, are in another planet because they consider abortion when the fetus is already viable.
No, Your
No.
Honor. We are proud that there are 24 Filipinos.
No, I'm proud of them. No, I'm not saying I'm not proud of them, but they are addressing the wrong problem.
No, Your Honor, they are patriots who gave an opinion to the Congress, and the Congress believed them. We should be proud of these 24
So you
Filipinos.
accept- so
That's
you
why
accept-
they,
All right.
it's not only the WHO that the Congress believed. The Congress believed 24 Filipinos. Now the question to us is, on the other side, how many experts were produced? We're saying none.
So you accept their proposition that consider abortion only with respect to viable fetus.
No, Your Honor, the government's position is very clear.
That's what they said. No?
That is what they said.
That's what these experts you said we should believe.
Not on
Reject.
that position, Your Honor. The position of the government is very clear. 4A, whether it is fertilization of the ovum or implantation, you cannot prevent the fertilized ovum from reaching or being implanted in the mother's womb.
All right.
That is the government's position. Your
Well,
Honor.
relying on the WHO. So let's now look at some of these WHO statements. WHO said in its expert opinion, November 7, 2006, page 4, Annex 1, that when used appropriately and in doses/ways recommended, none of these methods have been shown to cause abortion of an implanted fetus. In effect, WHO says that take this pill every day on the same hour. If you don't, there is fertilization, and there is fertilization of the ovum. Nonetheless, we don't know if the contraceptives you take will cause abortion. In fact, that's what they're saying.
No, Your Honor, that is not what it says.
Well, in effect, let's say that what it said is the one there on the
No,
top.
no, it does not say it textually. It does not say it in effect. With all due respect, Your Honor.
Well, it says there, no? When you use you were given 28 pills. Okay, you use it one each day, okay? And now, if you fail, if you fail one day, for example, no? And there's fertilization of the ovum, that can happen. You failed one day, you drop one pill one day or two pills one day, there is fertilization of the ovum. It says that none of these methods, these pills, have been shown to cause abortization of an implanted fetus. So it says to say that we don't know, it says, if the contraceptives you take will cause abortion.
I respectfully disagree, Your Honor. That is your conclusion.
Well,
My
anyway.
own plain reading, all it says is, take this dutifully in recommended doses. This is not shown to cause abortion. I with all due respect, Your Honor. The text and the implication, I completely, with all respect, disagree
When
with you,
you say
Your Honor.
not have been shown, means say there's no evidence, no? None of these methods have been shown
Yes, Your Honor.
to cause abortion on an implanted fetus.
And that's
if
correct.
you fail, no?
And that's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so anyway, next, further, WHO said that when used appropriately, none of these methods have been shown to cause abortion. Well, no, the other one, let's see. The WHO said in its October 27, 2010 position paper that all the contraceptives it described, including IUDs, directly or indirectly have effect on the endometrium. Do you know what the endometrium is? It is the lining of the, what do you call that?
The mother's womb.
Uterus, no?
Yes, sir.
Where the fertilized ovum are implanted, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, the IUDs have effect on the endometrium that may hypothetically prevent implantation. However, said the WHO, there's no scientific evidence supporting this possibility. Correct? That's what it says.
Yes,
Now,
Your Honor.
a hypothesis, according to Webster, is a proposition tentatively assumed in order to draw out its logical or empirical consequences. And so test its accord with the fact that are known or may be determined. Okay? Now, this means that given what the science knows, contraceptives would logically or empirically damage the endometrium and prevent implantation. But WHO would make no commitment either way, since science, according to it, could not yet produce evidence that this is the case, that the hypothesis is correct. You get it?
I disagree, Your Honor, with your proposition.
What is your disagreement with this?
Precisely, the plain reading of what the WHO said is the so-called third effect, the
hypothesis. We're dealing with hypothesis here.
No, the WHO did not hypothesize. It is the WHO said that this so-called effect is a hypothesis. The WHO made a flat-out statement. There is no scientific evidence that it causes abortion. All that the WHO said is, well, yes, there is this hypothesis, and maybe it will cause like this, but there is no scientific evidence to prove that hypothesis. That is the reading, Your Honor. The plain reading.
Hypothesis, but it admits that there is a hypothesis. Because, for example, you say if you drink this 1 cup of poison, you're going to die. But we will never know until you drink this cup of poison. That's hypothesis. This is the one also, no?
No, Your Honor, they're different.
Given science, no? If you use this IUD, then the lining of the womb will be affected. Hypothetically, no? It will prevent implantation. It means it will become an abortive patient. It prevents implantation.
That is why that is a
hypothetically, you only say that there's no evidence. So, in our opinion, there is no danger. It is not abortive patient because we have no evidence.
That is precisely, Your Honor, all the WHO was saying is this is a plain hypothesis. At the end of the day, whether your version is right or whether my version is right, what made the big difference was the Congress, the House, and the Senate. These are right-minded patriots. They read the evidence. They believe that they are not
You
about
think the other
passion.
side have no patriots? I don't think we should refer to either side.
I never said that,
as
Your Honor.
patriots.
That's why.
We can differ and not be not unpatriotic.
No, Your Honor, I never
Because
said
you're
that.
referring to.
I'm
some
referring
groups as
in the
patriots.
sense of this interpretation, Your Honor. Because again, we're not talking about whether your reading is correct
All right, I will
or
go
my
to another-
reading is correct. It is
I think-
whether the Congress, in making their reading, acted in grave abuse of discretion.
All right, I think I've made my point. So I'll go to another point. No? The WHO said in its November 7, 2006 expert opinion, page 3 of Annex 1, that given the use, that during, let me see, I'm sorry, so November 7, given the high efficacy of combined oral contraceptives in preventing ovulation, it is very unlikely that interference with implantation is a primary mechanism of contraceptive action. Well, primary means first, isn't it?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's secondary when you say primary.
Yes,
Well,
Your
for example, my primary interest is books. My secondary interest is movie. All right? So it says that it is very unlikely that interference with implantation is a primary mechanism of contraceptive action. Now, WHO repeats this point in another paper. Both statements imply that interference with implantation, if not a primary mechanism of contraceptives, is its secondary mechanism. That's why I said, my primary interest is, when I say a primary interest, you imply that there is a secondary interest. Because you'll just say, my interest is books. Why do I have to say my first interest is books? If my only interest is books. So that it implies that there is a second function. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor, and that is why the Congress came up with 4A.
Okay.
4A is on the so-called third mechanism of action. The Congress already says, if a particular brand of contraceptive prevents a fertilized ovum from reaching or being implanted, then it is abortifacient. That is what the debate is about. The Congress read it correctly.
But it is referring it's referring to interference with implantation.
Precisely, Your Honor, 4A is all about interference with
With
the
implantation.
fertilized ovum reaching
Okay. So,
and being implanted. And that exactly is the remedy of 4A. Why we keep repeating, there is no issue, Your Honor. The
Right.
Congress recognizes that there may be a third. That is why they're saying, FDA, you are the expert. Find out. Not 59, because the 59 are different brands. Go per brand. Does the particular, does trust, for example, as was exhibited the other two sessions, does it prevent, again, the fertilized ovum from reaching or from being implanted into the mother's womb? That is a triable question of fact for the FDA, Your Honor. The Congress knew that and they put that into 4A.
Okay, another point. WHO said also in its November 7, 2006 expert opinion that, and I quote, during the use of copper-releasing IUDs, this is the one that I said in the shape of a cross, more or less, about 1 inch. Copper-releasing IUDs, according to WHO, the reaction is enhanced by the release of copper ions into the luminal fluids of the general tract, which is toxic. This is what I told you, that WHO itself says toxic, which is toxic to sperm. All right. And how does this affect the uterus where the fertilized ovum is supposed to implant itself? Do you know?
Our answer again, Your Honor, is 4A. There are 7 IUDs presently licensed by the FDA. So again, the triable question of fact, IUD, particular brand, 1 out of the 7, 7 of the 7, do they, because of the release of copper ions, the release of the copper ions, do they prevent a fertilized ovum from reaching or being implanted? Again, we can just go back. This is a circuitous
I think you are
argument,
over-relying on the FDA because...
No, I am not relying on... I am relying on 4A, Your Honor. That's the law.
These IUDs and these hormonal contraceptives you're talking about, as you said yourself, are already in the market.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So if you say that the FDA is looking at it really seriously, you see, why is it that the WHO itself says that it releases toxic substance that kills the sperm, and the FDA has nothing to say about it?
The FDA,
are we going to rely on this agency?
The FDA, with all due respect, Your Honor, cannot say anything yet because the implementation of the law has been enjoined. And this requirement, the FDA, as a matter of general statute, passes upon all the drugs that we take efficacy, purity, and safety. 4A, in effect, in respect of contraceptive drugs and devices, adds a 4th category. Not only must the FDA say this drug is safe, pure, and effective, they must, if it is a contraceptive drug or device, they must now say it does not prevent the fertilized ovum, and the mantra is the same, from reaching or being implanted in the mother's womb. That is a new requirement, Your Honor. That is why they are geared to look into that. But how can they look into that when there is a order?
Are you aware that all these contraceptives that we're mentioning are imported from Thailand, Pakistan, India? You mean to say that the FDA has laboratories in these places that screen this? They are imported by these organizations, almost all of them. So this must be, what are you talking about, that the FDA is able to really monitor these drugs that come from Pakistan, Karachi?
They do, Your Honor. The imported drugs are tested for safety, purity, and safety. How do they do it? Before they issue a certificate of product registration, for example, if it comes from the United States, they will look at a certification from the US FDA. If it comes from the EU, they will look at the certification from the EU. They, on their own, may call for field testings. That is what the FDA does.
They can do that, but as a rule, even in the FDA in the United States, from what I know, it's the burden of the manufacturers to produce what they did, It's not really as if
certainly, Your Honor,
the FDA has a means to really conduct its own experimentation.
You are right, Your Honor. It is the proponent, it is the manufacturer, of course, of the product that goes to the FDA and says, I would like to be licensed. Now, the FDA has a list of requirements. Among them, the certificate from, for example, if it comes from the U.S., from the U.S. FDA. So they're doing their duty, Your Honor. But as I'm saying, RH law now gives, in respect of contraceptives, and a fourth requirement, that before they can be eligible to be put into the EDL or the National Drug Formulary, the FDA must certify. And the mantra is the same: do not prevent
I was
fertilized
asking you
ovum.
earlier what the effect of the what does the IUD, what is its effect on the uterus where the fertilized ovum is supposed to implant itself? Actually, WHO answers that, no? In the same paper. The major effect, it says there, of all IUDs is to induce a local inflammatory reaction in the uterine cavity. According to Webster, an inflammation is a local response to cellular injury. There's inflammation when there is cellular injury. We all understand that. Pag nabukol ka, or you cut your, there is damage to our cells. In other words, IUDs, by HEO's definition, harm the uterine cavity where fertilized eggs are implanted.
We respectfully disagree, Your Honor.
You disagree with WHO?
We respectfully disagree, because indeed the mechanism of action of an IUD is to cause an inflammation where there are compounds that kill the sperm. Now, but insofar as the FDA is concerned, they have passed upon that the 7 IUDs are safe. Meaning, yes, there is an inflammation. Yes, they act as spermicidals, but they are safe, Your Honor. The FDA will not pass upon it if they are not safe. All you're saying is the mechanism of action is copper causes some inflammation. There are compounds which kill sperm. Yes, that there is an inflammation. I'm not a doctor, but the FDA, as an expert, are saying that kind of inflammation is seemingly acceptable. Otherwise,
this is
they will
the
not
WHO talking, huh?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to you, your experts at the WHO.
And I have no problem with that, Your Honor.
Now,
What I'm saying is it is still safe.
Do you know what these poisonous elements would do to the cell that make up the endometrium or outer lining of the womb?
I do not know, Your Honor, but that is addressed as a matter of
They
safety
are also made
to
up
the
of
FDA.
cells. Do you realize that?
I am not a doctor, Your Honor, but again, that is a matter to be addressed by the FDA.
Now, okay, let's go to another point. Is it possible to have fertilization even with IUD?
I believe so, Your Honor. There are failure rates.
So the IUD is a foreign object, like a cross, implanted in the uterus where the baby is also implanted. So if there's fertilization, according to WHO, okay, here, studies on recovery of eggs from women using copper-bearing IUDs and from women not using any method of contraception show that rates of embryos, which are fertilized eggs in advanced stage, formed in the tubes, that's the fallopian tubes, are much lower in copper-bearing IUD users than those not using contraception. In other words, sperm can survive even in IUD situation, according to WHO.
I believe that's theoretically correct, Your Honor.
So
Because no
fertilization,
contraceptive is 100% effective. That's my understanding. There is a so-called failure rate.
okay, so that's fine, because that's the only point I want to make. Now, another one, WHO admits in its November 7, 2006 expert opinion that progestin-only hormonal contraceptive can cause the endometrium, ito yung where the implantation takes place, where fertilized eggs are implanted, to suffer injury. WHO said, progestin-only methods also cause changes in the endometrium. Yan ang sinasabi ko. No? that poison will not kill only the sperm. It will kill also the cells of the endometrium. Okay. Let me see. However, these changes show great variability among patients. From atrophy, nag-atrophize yung endometrium where the sperm or the fertilized ovum is placed, nangayayak or wasting away to normal secretory structures. Now, my question is, if the endometrium has atrophied, what will happen to the fertilized ovum that failed to implant?
The studies would show, Your Honor, that there is no correlation because the findings are that there can even be implantation in the fallopian tube where it's not supposed to be. So, Your Honor, these are all hypotheticals.
The WHO itself says that there can be surviving fertilized egg that can... But if it goes there and it's atrophied, it will die. Don't you agree it will die?
No, Your
There is
Honor.
abortion, in fact,
No, Your Honor.
of the fertilized egg.
No, Your
because
Honor.
of the use of the... What do you call that? Of this intrauterine device.
No, Your Honor. Progestin-only methods are only one of the methods. The other methods are the ones that the hormone-based progesterone, Your Honor. Progestin, I believe, is among others, those for lactating mothers who already have to take it. So the women have a menu of contraceptives to rely upon. All they're saying is progestin-only methods may have these effects.
Okay.
But they do not say that the effect is an abortion, Your Honor.
Okay, that's your answer.
That's the answer,
Okay,
Your
now,
Honor.
the UHC study group that you are mentioning, the Patriots, submitted their view that contraceptives do not cause abortion, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
But they gave this opinion based on their belief that you can consider abortion only with respect to viable fetus, not a mere fertilized ovum. That's what they say here, no?
No, Your Honor.
I'll read first. Abortion, according to them, is the termination of an established pregnancy before fetal viability. Parenthesis, the fetus' ability to exist independently of the mother, close parenthesis. Aside from the 50% of zygotes, these are fertilized eggs, that are naturally unable to implant, an additional wastage of about 20% of all fertilized eggs occur due to spontaneous abortions. So this study group speaks in a different language than the language of below, because the language of below is conception or begins at fertilization, but theirs is there's only what do you call that? There's only violation of the life of the unborn from the time of viable fetal viability. Okay, so
No, Your Honor, that is only correct insofar as the first sentence
Well, anyway,
is
this is
concerned,
the-
on which I have agreed the government has a different position on the first sentence.
No,
The
I'm only
position
saying
of
this
the government
because- yeah.
is 4A.
I'm only saying this because
Because, Your Honor,
this is the
your
level
question...
of their this is the level of their opinion, no?
No, Your Honor. They have an opinion on what constitutes an abortion. They have a different opinion on contraceptive effects. The two are different, Your Honor.
I'll go to that. Actually, I'm going to that. Would you know what the best evidence would be that drug manufacturers produce hormonal contraceptives that in fact function as abortion drugs or abortifacients? Would you know?
I'm sorry,
Would you
Your
know what is the best evidence that manufacturers produce hormonal contraceptives that in fact function as abortifacients?
I do not believe there is one
You
single...
don't believe? I'm asking you, do you know what is the best evidence of that?
For that matter, Your Honor, the government will challenge. Nobody knows. Because that's why in the proposed IRR, permit me, this is what the FDA is supposed to do. Check the compounds.
You are saying that actually the FDA relies on the manufacturer's research. Yes, actually, you say that. You
Not only
consider
that, Your Honor, not only that, if
No,
you will
not
allow
only
me.
that, but among the other things, they rely on the manufacturer's presentation, evidence, etc.
As a starting
Okay.
point, because
So-
certainly it is the manufacturer who brings the product
All right, yeah,
to
now.
the FDA.
Section 2 of Rule 129 of the Rules of Evidence provides that a court may take judicial notice of matters which are capable of unquestionable demonstration. You have heard of this rule?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, all one need is buy this contraceptives pack. I left it in my office because but I have the inserts. You read the inserts. All right, now. And it says, I'm going to read from one of them. No? The brand name is, I don't know if the correct pronunciation, Daphne. Or Dapan, I don't know the correct pronunciation in France. No? Brand of linstrenol. It says, and I quote, pharmacology. This is a description of the manufacturer of its product. Pharmacology, mechanics of action. Effects on endometrium. Linestrenol, Daphne, impairs implantation. You see? Impairs implantation. Perhaps, that's an abortive patient. Perhaps by altering its special receptors for hormones. It may also be indirectly impaired. Implantation is indirectly impaired by interfering with the corpus lutein. Right, another one. Effects on tubal action. Linestrenol, Daphne, affects tubal secretions and microvilli. Hence, blastocyst and ovum, these are fertilized eggs, transport are delayed. Now, that delay can kill the fertilized ovum. You understand?
That will be taken as part of the evidence, Your Honor. The FDA will have to make a judgment. If somebody contests it, it will be brought perhaps to the Court of Appeals and ultimately to this honorable court.
But it's been a long time that the Constitution was in 1987, and the rules of the FDA prohibit the approval of abortive patients. I don't think that is approved by the FDA.
No, this is approved, Your
But
Honor.
the problem is this one also acts as contraceptive. That's the whole problem about this case, you know? This
Assuming,
medicine is valid in the sense that it is a contraceptive, but it is a double-barreled gun, ano? You fire one shot, contraceptive. You fire the second shot, abortive patient.
that is why, Your Honor, there is, again, 4A. Because, as Father Berna says,
For
do
A is
not
definition of
generalize.
terms. It does not mandate anything. It's a definition of terms. I don't know how you can
With
find
all
a rule of
due
law in the definition of terms.
With all due respect, Your Honor, rule of law is precisely 4A. Because without 4A, then anybody can say, this is my view and that is my view. This is my religious view.
No, by
this
the
is
way,
my
I'm
political
going
view.
also into that. No,
Under
later on.
4A, then, if this particular brand does not pass, then it does not pass, Your Honor. That
So
will
let
go
me
up
read,
to this
no?
honorable court. But that is what Father Bernas is saying. Do not generalize. It is not responsible to generalize. If this is what one brand says, they have to account for it in the FDA.
So let me read from this inset of trust pill that you have to trust. You know, trust pill. If you brand of ethinyl, estradiol, Lebanor, gestrel, and ferrous fumarate. It states that prior to starting estradiol, Lebanor, gestrel, ferrous fumarate tablet, pregnancy must be ruled out. However, should the pregnancy occur while taking the tablet, so the user takes the tablet every day, but if pregnancy occurs while taking the tablet, the administration has to be withdrawn at once, right away. Okay. Now, the woman who uses this contraceptive trust pill presumably uses it because she believes that it will prevent conception, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Consequently, it is not likely that she would undergo testing for pregnancy every day, from day to day. That would not make sense. Huh? Do you agree? Do you agree that if you take what you believe will prevent contraception, you will not go to every day for testing?
That sounds sensible, Your Honor, yes.
Well, anyway, this insert implies that pregnancy can occur despite the use of contraceptive.
Of course, Your Honor, because contraceptives are not 100% effective.
Because continuous use, according to WHO, from what I read there, after pregnancy, well, no, not WHO, from something else. Why would the manufacturer say, when you become pregnant, don't take this anymore?
Because you don't need it anymore, Your Honor. It is a useless ceremony.
What is the new element that happened
nothing, Your Honor.
The pregnancy?
They're saying if you are now pregnant, then it failed. So stop using it because that
But
is
you
a
will not know, no? The problem with that is you will not know.
But the all manufacturers are just erring on the side of caution. If you know, they're not requiring the user to go to the doctor every day,
WHO says
Your
that
Honor.
you will not be able to get some results from testing unless mga 6 days or something that you will know whether you're really pregnant. But as we know, the fertilization of the eggs takes place before signs of pregnancy. So that's the problem with this, no? A woman may decide, for now I don't want to have a baby, but I really want to have a baby, you know. So I'll take this pill because it assures me, and the doctor tells me it will prevent pregnancy. So I take it. But I did not know, that I could be pregnant. It gives me no choice that if I had become pregnant, there had been fertilization, I am not going for aborting the fertilized egg. I want to have that as my child. That's the problem.
There is no problem, Your Honor.
That's not a problem to us.
There's
to
no
you.
problem. A contraceptive
It's not a
pill.
problem to me also because I'm not the one to have the child. But our wives, our daughters are the ones who are going to have the problem.
Our wives and daughters do not have a problem, Your Honor. Contraceptives are not 100% fail-safe. That is why there is so-called breakthrough pregnancy. It fails. If it fails, that is not the fault of anybody. The medicine is not perfect.
But
So it is not a problem, Your Honor.
That's what all this literature from this.
No, Your Honor, we respectfully disagree. All that
I don't know. We talk about realities, you know.
The reality, Your Honor, is that the pamphlet says this is good to prevent pregnancy. But if you are already pregnant, you should stop because what's the use? That is our take, Your Honor.
Well, the problem is that the law, the law itself says hormonal contraceptives. We declare that hormonal contraceptives are not abortive agents and that they should be included in this essential drugs list. You think the FDA, the FDA can go to jail, no? The people can go to jail if they do not include it in the list because it says the law itself says shall be included in the list.
No, Your Honor, they will not go to jail. In fact, the essential...
Well, you are Solicitor General probably. But
No, Your
in the
Honor,
future,
but with all due respect, as we speak, there is a national formulary. There are, as we speak, already drugs. There are already contraceptives. There is a process, Your Honor. There is a committee by the DOH. What it means, for example, is if 59 contraceptives pass, then the formulary system, how much does it cost? How are they effective? Then they will choose probably 1 or 2. And every 6 months, they review. Because the object is government funds are going to be used for the most effective, for the most cost-effective, for the most safe.
Well,
and therefore, that system, Your Honor, is under the Generics Act. That system has been with us for since the Generics Act. For example, what is the paracetamol that is best? The formulary system will test all of the brands because they cannot say 60 paracetamols can be made into an essential. They will choose which one is the most effective but has the least cost. That's one of the primary criterion, Your Honor.
I wish what you're saying is in the law, no?
It is in the law. It is.
No,
It is is in the law, Your
That is
Honor.
the issue here. The law in Section 9 says we declare contraceptives as non-abortive patient. They should be included in the drugs list, in the essential drugs list. But you are saying, under the definition portion, definition of terms, FDA has control. By golly, how can we have a law like that, where the control upon the drugs is in the definition of the terms? This is for the future. I wish I said what you are saying is in the law.
It is
because
in
if
the law.
it's there, I'll not question this law.
It is in the generics.
If it is there, it's okay. But
Is it
it's
in-
not there.
It is in the generics act
Well,
law, Your
anyway,
Honor.
that's the issue. No? You submit that it is there.
We will, Your Honor.
Now I'm going to ask you. The trust of the family planning that the RH law envisions is, this reproductive health is the promotion of access to all acceptable methods of family planning or contraceptives, correct? Okay.
Yes, among others, Your Honor.
Now, contraceptives that Section 9, as I said earlier, declare as unqualifiedly safe. This time I'm not referring to I'm going into the safe portion. Huh? You said it is we're true with abortive patient, but now you're saying also the law says that contraceptives are safe. It is an unqualified statement. It doesn't say contraceptives are safe, but it doesn't say that. It says contraceptives are safe. Now, can the RH law... No. Let me read to you Section 15 of Article 2. It says the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people. You get that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You cite in your comment a UN Economic and Social Council statement that says that the right to health is not to be understood as a right to be healthy. The right to health contains both freedoms and entitlements. The freedoms include the right to control one's health and body, including sexual and reproductive freedom, and the right to be free from interference. You got this, you know? You cite this as your own understanding of it.
Yes, Your Honor.
But this was a statement that was made by this United Nations Economic Social Council in the year 2000. It's a concept that has come around in the year 2000. Is this the meaning that the term health that the Constitution envisioned in 1986 or 87?
I believe
It did
so,
not
Your
exist yet, no?
I believe so, Your Honor.
What do you say?
I believe so, Your Honor.
You believe so, but that came out only in 2000, before, many years before this statement came out.
I cannot understand the question.
So what is your basis for believing that those who drafted the Constitution saw that in the year 2000 this will be the new concept? What makes you believe that?
Because, Your Honor, what we said is an inclusive statement which for any right-minded citizen, will include health. Health is a very general statement, Your Honor.
Did the Constitution define the term safe?
I do not believe so, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. So, the only health, I'm sorry. Did the Constitution define the word health?
I do not, well, I am not
So the only
sure.
meaning we could give that word health used in our Constitution is its common meaning, right?
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right. And health, as Webster defines the term, means physical and mental well-being, freedom from disease, pain or defect. Health means normalcy of physical function. This is what the Constitution, as you said, using the common meaning, intended. Okay. So, women have the right to be free from government-sponsored sickness. Do you agree?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
Yeah, you agree or not?
Absolutely, I agree.
Okay.
The state cannot sponsor
free
sickness.
from
Your Honor.
government-sponsored pain. Of course.
Absolutely, Your Honor, I
Absolutely.
agree.
Free from government-sponsored defect.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are healthy vital organs of the body part of the right to health?
I would believe so, Your Honor.
Okay. So women have the right to have normally functioning vital organs, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
They have the right to walk in the park or in the malls in good health,
Yes, Your Honor.
free of worries of fears over contraceptives that the government has assured them is good for their health.
I do not agree. Women do not fear contraceptives, Your
I do
Honor.
not agree. Okay. Can the government...
Women do not fear contraceptives. I think that proposition is self-evident, Your Honor.
Can the government sponsor a family planning program that violates the women's right to health?
Of course not, Your Honor.
Okay. Therefore, Therefore, government-promoted and supplied contraceptives must be safe, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. They must not expose women to the risk of harming their cervix,
Yes, Your Honor.
their breast,
Yes, Your Honor.
or their livers.
Yes, Your Honor.
They must not subject women to dangers of blood clots,
Of course, Your Honor.
pulmonary embolism,
Yes, Your Honor.
deep vein thrombosis,
Yes, Your
or
Honor.
gallbladder damage,
Yes, Your Honor.
or make them candidates for cancer and heart attacks, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's good. Such government action approved and supplied contraceptives will violate, if those contraceptives will result in that would violate the women's constitutional right to health, correct?
Your Honor, the answer to that is a matter of informed choice. Because, Your Honor, what you have read are the warning labels. Some contraceptives have warning about venous thrombosis, so that is why you have progestins that I believe do not have such risk, and you have the so-called progesterones. It's a matter of informed choice, Your Honor. As the
Yeah,
court
but
said the
our
last
target-
time, everything has those are side effects.
Kaya nga mayaman.
There are contraceptives that may cause venous thrombosis. So that is in the health warning. But you do not deny the woman the right to choose. If she wants this, because hiyang yung katawan, then there is the warning, Your Honor. But that's a matter of informed choice. Just because there is a warning doesn't mean that is government-sponsored. Every day, the FDA has to pass upon drugs that have side effects.
Well,
Justice has read side effects the other session. They are a reality of life.
well,
Unless,
I have a simple reasoning, not so complex as... you said that you're a physician?
no, Your Honor, I
thought
never
you had
said that, Your
You're
Honor.
a doctor or something, no?
No, I never said that. What I said is I am not a doctor, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I just thought...
Well, just
no.
for the avoidance of doubt, I am not a doctor, Your Honor.
Now, I'm just a simple-minded person. What do you say, If you, a healthy organ, for example, if you have healthy eyes, you can see. Do you agree?
Well,
If you have healthy eyes, you should be able to see.
you should, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. If you have healthy ears, you can hear, right? Although in my case, I have a little problem with my hearing already.
Well, it will
Alright.
depend, Your Honor.
But anyway,
You might have a healthy ear, but if there's
my point is this,
if there's an interference somewhere,
Yeah. The point is the intrauterine device is plastic and metal that you plant into the woman's womb. Unfortunately, we're men, we don't get that into our system. But this one is a foreign body that you plant in the woman's womb. Okay? One kind is copper that kills or disables the sperm cells. I think we agreed on that. If it can kill live cells in the womb, there is no reason it will not kill live cells in the lining of the womb called endometrium. And I think even WHO concedes that it can cause atrophy now.
That's a triable question of fact, Your Honor.
Well, that is where the implantation takes place. Now, in the natural order of things, the womb is the place where the sperm will not be chemically slain, correct? in the ordinary nature of order of things, the womb is the place where the sperm will not be chemically slain, correct?
I am
Ordinarily.
I am not sure, Your Honor. Even ordinarily, I do not. Supposedly, from my readings,
Well, as a rule, in the natural order, of course, there can be sick women, sick with some illness, and then maybe that will slay the sperm. But in the natural order of things, for husband and wife, for example, or couples, the sperm is the place where the sperm will naturally be. All right, but here it will be. The assumption it will not be chemically slain in the ordinary order of things, correct?
I am not in a position.
And that it will be able to fertilize the ovum in the ordinary course.
In the ordinary course, I believe, Your Honor, the fertilization takes place in the
Well, in the
fallopian
ordinary
tube.
course, if you have no contraception, you are going to have pregnancy or in the ordinary course for healthy women and healthy men. That's what my point only. You agree with that?
I do not agree, Your Honor, because
So there is no, in the ordinary way, healthy men, healthy women will not conceive, will not have fertilized, will not have kids. Is that your point?
they do, Your Honor.
Hmm?
They do. In the ordinary course, healthy men and women will have kids. They do.
So I don't see it. So, anyway, with IUD, and that's what the WHO says, you know, the wombs become an unsafe place for the sperm because of the toxic element substance released by the IUD that kills the sperm, correct?
I do not know if it is in the womb, Your Honor. My understanding is that the sperm is killed in the fallopian tube.
The sperm is in the
Fallopian tube.
fallopian tube.
Yes.
Well, the sperm ordinarily does not go directly to the fallopian tube. I thought, it goes first naturally to the
That's why
cervix.
that to me, Your Honor, that to me is a triable question of fact. It will go back again to 4A. All of these questions
Maybe that
will
can
go
happen
back.
for an athlete male or something like that. Ano?
I don't know also, Your Honor.
Now, so, but with the IUD now, WHO said, among other things, that hormonal contraceptives in IUDs are safe and do not cause illness or death. That's what you say.
Yes, Your Honor.
The RH law, as I said, declared hormonal contraceptives and IUD as safe, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the law define the term hormonal contraceptives as it did the term abortifacient?
No, Your Honor.
It did not, ano? Did it define the term intrauterine device?
No, Your Honor.
So there is nothing in the law that states the functions of hormonal contraceptives and explains why it regards these as safe. There is none.
None in the text
Now,
of the law, Your Honor.
Did the law define the term safe?
No, Your Honor.
With no definition, the law therefore did not intend the term safe to have a technical or specific meaning. There's
Well,
no definition.
If when there is no definition, Your
Okay.
Honor, then
The
that's
term
open for the
safe,
courts.
well, in the way who will read the law, the ordinary man, will be the final referee of what is the meaning will be the dictionary, So when RH law says that contraceptives are safe, it means, according to Webster, free from damage, danger, or injury. But are contraceptives free from damage, danger, or injury?
The answer, Your Honor, is that safe is in the present FDA Act as amended and under the old FDA law. The word is safe. And safe doesn't exclude side effects, Your Honor. So safe in administrative law is just like national interest. There is no specific definition, but you let the administrative agency do its work. They are the experts. After all is said and done, they will say this drug is safe, but if you have thrombosis, ask your doctor. If you are pregnant, ask your doctor. That is the way of the FDA, Your Honor. And yet, I would say, also in the FDA Act, there is no definition of safe. Just like national interest, in the best interest, safety, public order, that's administrative law, Your Honor.
Now, according to the legislature, according to you, based its finding that contraceptives and IUDs are safe based on the WHO papers, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But from my reading of these WHO papers, they discuss mainly the issue of whether or not contraceptives and IUDs are abortee patients. Actually, it does not say discuss the safety features of this. Not really in that sense.
Because, Your Honor, as we said, as way back 1966, the Congress already said they are safe. That's why for the
No, I'm
past
just
15
checking
years.
out your statement that
The-
this
what-
study that you attached to your comment supports the view that contraceptives are safe. And in fact, the WHO did not dwell on safety, but on the whether or not contraceptives are abortee patients. Just note that, no? I'm not quarreling with you there, no? Now, actually, the only opinion on the issue of safe nature of contraceptives that you mentioned in your comment come from the Universal Healthcare Study Group, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, tell me, have the opinions of this group been subjected to peer review of the highest quality in the field of medicine?
I am not aware, Your Honor.
You're not aware, okay. Well, if it is so, you would have been informed, since that is important for credibility of research, correct? It's credible. It would really show the top. Now, anyway,
It will
did
depend.
Congress commission, as far as you know, did Congress commission this study by the UHC group?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. I do not.
Okay,
I
so
do not believe so.
this was not an authorized study, nor did Congress supervise its conduct.
Which makes it, in my view,
They don't say that in their letter that they're
which makes, in
supervised.
my view, that they are an independent.
Spontaneous.
Independent.
Independent,
Your Honor.
okay. And now, it is a volunteer group that wants to make a stand on the issue of whether or not contraceptives are right, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do not rule out the possibility, I'm not also like that, no? That the findings of this group are in error. I'm not saying that. But let us face it. Do you know if it has an international reputation, like the International Union Against Cancer or the Mayo Clinic for making scientific study on the dangers of contraceptives to reproductive health? Do you know?
I believe that each of these 24 Filipino doctors, scientists, pharmacists, pharmacologists, each on their own standing are persons that we can be proud of, Your Honor. Now,
No, as a
whether
group.
they measure up to the
Their
Mayo
work
Clinic,
is a group, ano? So, I'm just saying whether this group,
but the group is
Yes,
composed of individuals, and there are 24, Your Honor. We should be proud of these 24.
no, I know that, but they submitted this as a group study. We don't know their individual thing, but I'm saying
But
is there.
No, Your Honor, by the fact that each of the 24
In
signed,
other words,
that
there
means
is none. No? There is no international, what do you call that, reputation as a group. No? Now,
I disagree, Your Honor. I believe each
Well, please show us next
have
time,
international renown, and as a group
well,
are internationally
submit an
renowned.
evidence that this is, it has that kind of reputation.
We will, Your Honor.
I gather from their declaration that you attached to your comment that the 24 experts in this study group met on August 8, 2011, and I quote, to examine ranging questions on pregnancy and contraception applying scientific and evidence-based analysis. End of quotation. And drew up their conclusion, among other things, that contraceptives and IUDs are safe. Do you agree?
Yes, Your Honor.
But how could they, meeting only on August 8, make scientific and evidence-based analysis regarding whether or not contraceptives are safe?
Because each of these 24, Your Honor, are experts in their fields, and each have 60, 70 years of experience in their field. And just because they met in one day doesn't mean this is you add all the years, Your Honor. Yes, certainly they met on one day. But when they met, they brought to bear on the table all of the received experience. These are academics from UP, from all other
So
schools,
this is a put together views, something that the individual.
Well, yes, Your Honor. Of course, how else can 24 experts
Some
put
of them
together
are not
their
even
views?
experts in. Actually, there's a variety. You said there's a lot of.
Yes, Your Honor. I can read their expertise.
Now, do you have information if the UHC group has in the past made a study like this that has been published by gold standard publications like the British or the American Medical Journal that publish only authentic and credible scientific studies? Do you have information?
I do not have as of this
Okay,
moment.
now,
But, Your Honor, I would also stress, why are we zeroing in on our 24?
Well, submit proof later on, if you have that information. No.
Can I speak, Your Honor? There is absolutely no counterpart expert group for the other side. That's my point, Your Honor.
No, but these are the standard things that.
No, that's why, Your Honor, we have 24 Filipino scientists. I'm saying the contrary view is based on what?
We all went through schools, and
No, Your Honor, on the evidence, scientific evidence submitted only to the Congress. There is none, Your Honor. Now, why pick on 24 Filipinos?
Now, have they ever made any claim to having passed competent peer review of their work?
I will ask each of them, Your Honor, to give us a bibliography of what they have written.
This particular work, not each of them.
I do not know, Your Honor, but each of them
submit,
represents a learning, Your Honor. And that is not fair to ask them, but are they experts? If that question and ask, please give us the opportunity in our memo to give a bibliography of what they have written. Do they meet your gold standard? We will tell this honorable court, Your Honor.
Well. Have you ever encountered a law like the RH law that declares a scientific thesis like the one we have here, that hormonal contraceptives are safe to be unqualifiedly true, legislatively declared to be true? Have you ever found a law like that before?
Not on hormonal contraceptives, because I believe this is the first time. But the 1966 law, Your Honor,
No, not like this.
44762 was also a congressional declaration in 1966
Well,
that they are safe, Your Honor.
Don't you think that if the government can dictate what the truth is on medical and scientific issues and send to jail those that disagree, we would be in deep trouble?
No, Your Honor, we are not in deep trouble.
We will be if this law is declared as constitutional.
with all due respect, we will not, Your
It
Honor.
declares a scientific phenomenon as true.
Subject to the expert finding of the FDA. And at the proper time, Your Honor,
Based
Your
on the
Honors will
definition
have the
of
time.
terms. Based on the definition of terms.
Your Honor, please let the FDA do its
That's the
work. It
problem,
will
no?
go back to this honorable
No, I would have
court.
liked this law, no? If it would be, what you say is in this law, I would have liked it. But what you are saying is not in the...
All I am saying is in the law, Your Honor. FDA makes a
In
determination.
the definition of terms, according to you.
It is in the law, Your Honor. I'm not
Well,
making this up.
They put Galileo in jail for saying that the earth is round when the authorities of that era concluded that it is flat. Should the Supreme Court uphold a law that declares as correct and true one side of an issue to which experts themselves disagree?
Just because experts disagree, Your Honor, does not mean that the Congress in the executive cannot alleviate the plight of the poor by having reproductive rights, by making contraceptives universally accessible. Contraceptive suites for the past 50 years are available to the wealthy.
We will be in trouble. We will be in trouble if we will trust the government with the final statement of what is true.
If Your Honors,
we will be in
please,
trouble.
the only thing that has changed is that for the past 50 years, contraceptives are available in the market for the wealthy. The only thing that changed is now the government says the government wants to subsidize access to the same contraceptives for the poor, for women, for the marginalized, for the vulnerable
I'm sorry.
in the exercise of police
I
power.
apologize
That's the
for
only
taking
change,
up your
Your
time, so I'll, with a reservation to ask more questions later.